Cave diving is one of the most dangerous activities in the world, where a single mistake can mean the difference between life and death. In 2016, two experienced divers, Mike Young and Shane Thompson, set out to explore the hidden cave system beneath the Santa Rosa Blue Hole in New Mexico. What was meant to be a routine dive quickly turned into a nightmare when one of them got trapped with no air. Panic, poor decisions, and a series of small mistakes led to a tragic ending. This is the chilling true story of a dive that went horribly wrong. Two highly experienced cave divers set out on a mission to explore and map the mysterious, untouched caves beneath the Santa Rosa Blue Hole in New Mexico. Cave diving is an extremely high-risk activity, requiring years of training and hundreds of hours of experience before attempting such expeditions. Despite the expertise of these divers, exploring unknown tunnels always carries the risk of the unexpected. Many divers before them had lost their lives believing they were prepared for every possibility. This particular dive would lead to an unforeseen catastrophe, adding to the long list of tragedies associated with cave exploration. While the thrill of uncovering hidden underground passages is appealing to those in the diving community, the dangers remain ever present. The story that unfolds is one of misjudgment, panic, and the harrowing realities of getting trapped deep underwater with no clear way out. Santa Rosa Blue Hole is a strikingly beautiful dive site in New Mexico, known for its crystal-clear waters and a depth of 80 feet, making it ideal for scuba diving and training. However, beneath the visible depths lies a labyrinth of dangerous caves that have been off-limits for decades due to past tragedies. In 1976, two divers perished within the tight cave tunnels, and it took weeks to locate and recover their bodies. The extreme difficulty of navigating the narrow passages, combined with the silt that quickly obscures visibility, makes this site treacherous. In response to the deaths, officials sealed the entrance with a metal grate and filled it with rocks to prevent further attempts to enter. Despite these precautions, curiosity about the caves persisted for decades. When the ADM Exploration Foundation gained permission to explore the caves in 2013, the stage was set for another tragic event. For nearly 40 years, the cave system beneath the Santa Rosa Blue Hole remained undisturbed, buried under layers of rock and metal. However, in 2013, the ADM Exploration Foundation sought permission to reopen the entrance for expert divers to map the tunnels. Their goal was to determine if the cave system could become a viable site for advanced cave diving. The project required years of preparation, including the painstaking removal of debris blocking the entrance. By 2016, a team of 10 elite divers was ready to embark on a 3-day mission to explore the chambers and pathways hidden beneath the sinkhole. Among them were Mike Young and Shane Thompson, two veteran cave divers with decades of experience. Both men had successfully navigated some of the most challenging underwater caves in the world. But the Santa Rosa Blue Hole would present obstacles that neither of them could have anticipated. As the team made their initial dives into the newly opened caves, they quickly realized the environment was far more hazardous than expected. Unlike traditional cave systems with well-defined tunnels, this one consisted of massive car-sized boulders stacked haphazardly, creating a chaotic maze of tight passages and dead ends. At a depth of 120 feet, there was no clear, safe pathway through the cave, making it unsuitable for recreational diving. Despite the difficulties, Mike Young was determined to conduct a thorough exploration to see if any part of the cave system could still be mapped and used. However, the extreme conditions, tight squeezes, unstable rocks, and disorienting pathways meant even experienced divers faced high risks. This unpredictable environment would later play a major role in the unfolding disaster, as the cave's narrow tunnels would become a deadly trap for one of the divers. On March 26, 2016, Mike Young and Shane Thompson prepared for what was supposed to be their final dive of the expedition. The plan was simple. Mike would descend to a depth of 165 feet through a series of tight restrictions, while Shane waited in a more open area at 140 feet. However, Shane made a critical and impulsive decision that deviated from their plan. Instead of waiting, he decided to follow Mike deeper into the cave, navigating through the same tight restrictions. This decision, made without Mike's knowledge, would set off a chain of events leading to tragedy. The cave's unpredictable structure and dangerous squeezes meant that any deviation from the plan could have dire consequences. Once Shane entered the narrow, rocky passageway, he unknowingly put himself, and Mike, in a position where survival would become a desperate struggle against time and panic. As Shane moved through a particularly tight restriction, he suddenly found himself wedged against the rock walls, unable to move forward or backward. His back-mounted rebreather got caught, limiting his mobility. Despite his experience, panic began to set in as he realized he was stuck in a confined space with no clear way out. Every attempt to free himself only made things worse, as pushing and pulling risked damaging his equipment. Panic is one of the most dangerous conditions for a cave diver, as increased breathing can quickly deplete oxygen and lead to carbon dioxide buildup. Mike soon caught up and found Shane trapped in the narrow passage. He attempted to maneuver Shane free, but the tight quarters made it nearly impossible. The two divers struggled for several minutes, knowing that every second spent trapped was reducing their chances of survival. Once Mike successfully freed Shane from the restriction, the men had to navigate their way back toward the entrance. However, in his panic, Shane made a critical mistake. He yanked on the guideline so hard that it slipped from Mike's hands. In the silt-filled water, losing the guideline meant total disorientation. Without it, finding the way out of the cave was nearly impossible. As Shane rushed ahead, he unknowingly put both men in an even more dangerous situation. Mike, now blind in the rocky maze, was forced to feel around for an exit while dealing with the fear of making a wrong move that could trap him further. Meanwhile, Shane continued his erratic movements, making another reckless attempt to force his way through a restriction. This decision would ultimately lead to his fatal mistake, as he became stuck once again, this time with no air left to save him. With his breathing rate dangerously high, Shane exhausted his rebreather's ability to scrub carbon dioxide, forcing him to switch to his emergency bailout tank. Unlike a rebreather, this tank had a limited supply of air. Still panicked from his earlier struggles, Shane moved too quickly through the cave, failing to maintain proper control over his breathing. As he forced his way through another restriction, he became trapped again, this time with no clear way out. His desperate thrashing only worsened his predicament, leading to the final, fatal mistake. He used up the last of his emergency air supply. By the time Mike reached him, Shane was unresponsive, his equipment torn and unusable. Despite his years of experience, his overwhelming panic had ultimately led to his death, serving as a tragic reminder that even veteran divers are not immune to the primal fear of being trapped in an enclosed, airless space. After discovering Shane's lifeless body, Mike knew he had to get out before he met the same fate. However, he had lost the guideline again and was stuck in a silted-out cave with no clear exit. Through calculated and careful movements, he was able to relocate the line and follow it towards safety. The journey back was grueling, requiring multiple decompression stops to prevent severe injury from nitrogen buildup in his body. Once at the surface, Mike recounted the horrifying events to the dive team. The next day, he was tasked with recovering Shane's body, a harrowing mission that confirmed every moment of the tragic final dive. Shane's death became a cautionary tale within the diving community, reinforcing the dangers of panic and deviating from planned procedures. His tragic final dive serves as a sobering reminder of the unforgiving nature of cave diving. Cave diving is unforgiving. There's no room for error. What happened at the Santa Rosa Blue Hole serves as a grim reminder of how quickly things can go wrong, even for experienced divers. One wrong turn, a moment of hesitation, or an unexpected equipment failure can mean never making it back to the surface. Despite the risks, explorers continue to push the limits, driven by curiosity and the thrill of the unknown. But for those who have lost their lives in the depths, their stories serve as cautionary tales. The question remains, is the pursuit of discovery worth the ultimate price?